This is Dolany TV, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel. And me, oh me, I'm actually excited. I've got two videos going up in one night. We're talking different topics and we're having a good time in July. So let's get right into it. Obviously, the rumors that keep swirling, not necessarily directly linked to the Edmonton Oilers, but it's just one of those interesting possibilities, right? I looked at a couple of connections. Obviously, the Travis Konechny option might actually have been there after all if you like to dabble in the RFA market if you're the Oilers. Of course, then you've got the Connor Brown trade, the Zaitsev deal. How could that shook out? Brendan Gallagher, probably my one most out to left field, but you understand where I was going before, yes, Puljujärvi's agent derailed his career single-handedly within the span of a month and a half. That aside, today I want to look at the Rasmus Ristolainen kind of shebang, right? In Buffalo, it's getting kind of interesting. You look at Buffalo's D-core, and this is the fun part. I'd love to have a graphic up, but I won't bother. Rasmus Ristolainen, the top paid defender on Buffalo. Actually, you know what? Screw this. Guys, give me the extra 2 seconds. Let me save this graphic for you, and let me show you what Buffalo is paying in terms of defensemen for what they have. This is the interesting part here. Buffalo D. And let me get that up for you in a picture down below. It'll start over my face in just a second, but we'll be fine and we'll be dandy and we'll look good. Maybe tomorrow kind of deal, right? That's the way it often works here. And we're not too worried about it. Give me a second. Where are we? Buffalo D. There we be. And perfect. Told you it'd be on my head. There you go. That's the Buffalo D core as it stands for 2019-2020. Obviously, this is the NHL roster ready D based on the good old cap-friendly website. So is it correct? Is it wrong? Who knows? That's right. I can say the same about the Oilers. Cap-friendly currently has Joel Person listed as one of our defenders, as well as Brandon Manning. Ooh, we know where we're going. So let's not get there. Rasmus Ristolainen, the top paid defender in Buffalo, 5.4 for the next 3 years. Then you've got Zach Bogosian coming off contract after the end of this year, 5.142. Marco Scandella, $4 million. Colin Miller, 3.8. You've got Brandon Montour, 3.3. Matt Hunwick, 2.25. You've got Rasmus Dahlin, who, 9.25, but you know he'll be getting paid in 2 years' time. And Casey Nelson as well, and don't forget about Jake McCabe. So there's quite a few guys in there. You talk about D, they've got 8 listed. Realistically, when you look at it, that Buffalo defense, for what they've been over the past few years, with the addition of Colin Miller and the full season that'll come from Brandon Montour, I think they're actually half decent. And that's exactly where I think my take on it is. Rasmus Ristolainen is getting the kind of purge from the organization. You also have to look at the right D selection there. You've got Ristolainen, you've got Bogosian, you've got Miller, you've got Montour, and you've got Casey Nelson. That's the list of right-handed defensemen, whereas you've only got Scandella as a lefty, you've got Hunwick as a lefty, Dahlin as a lefty, and Jake McCabe as a lefty. So somebody, probably two somebodies, are going to have to go realistically, but maybe not, right? Depends on how Buffalo wants to shake out their defense, but realistically, these guys have all been in Buffalo for some time, or, you know what, their journey, right? It's tough. It's tough to say what Buffalo is going to do, who will get squeezed out, but you know Miller's not getting squeezed out. You know Montour's not getting squeezed out. You know Dahlin's not getting squeezed out. Casey Nelson's not getting squeezed out. I'd be surprised if they do a sign and trade or some kind of wiggly magic with Jake McCabe. Marco Scandella, tough to say, but I mean, veteran on that team. Same with Zach Bogosian. Realistically, if I'm looking at 2 players on this team that'll get traded, it's Zach Bogosian and Rasmus Ristolainen. So, with that set up, we're long into this video already, and for some reason I still haven't talked about the Oilers connection. That's exactly where I go. The Oilers connection is, you've got to go look at Mr. Adam Larsson. This is where I'm going with it, because we've already talked about Rasmus Ristolainen as a right-handed defenseman. So Adam Larsson, a guy who does things right for the most part. Last year, kind of an anomaly. Let's not kid ourselves. Larson's been serviceable over the past few years in an Oilers uniform. That playoff year, shutdown defender, 19 points, 79 games played, plus 21. Beautiful, beautiful. But it's all been downhill since then. Yes, he had, well, actually, no, it was downhill because he had 13 points in 63 games. The family issues, don't worry about it, I understand. That was 17-18. This year, 82 games played, all 82. You'd think, okay, he plays all 82, he's going to take a step forward. He scored a whole one more point in 3 extra games than he did in 79 games, scoring 19 points. That's the rough go with Adam Larsson. The worst yet part was a minus 28 on his part. That's the ugly numbers. Now, those are basic metrics. There's more to Adam Larsson. It's the hits. It's the grinded out game. But you got to also look how many times he just simply got beat. That's what frustrated me. Same with Chris Russell, same with Darnell Nurse, same with pretty much everybody on the Oilers team, including Connor McDavid last year. Everybody got beat. You know what, honestly, that Strome trade might have been made because of how badly he got beat in overtime by Sidney Crosby. Just to try and logic a Peter Chiarelli trade, that's probably why Ryan Strome got traded. So, to look at it that way, right? Obviously, okay, so why would I start with Adam Larsson? Well, Adam Larsson is a guy that you can kind of take into account, look at, and say, right-handed defenseman, minus 28. Why is he a good starting ground for a Rasmus Ristolainen deal? Well, number one, guys, you probably already commented it. The rumors and the confirmed stuff about Taylor Hall to Buffalo for Ristolainen being shut down, and then New Jersey sending Larsson for Hall. Well, right, that's the obvious connection. What I'm getting at more on a deeper level, still the basic analyticals, is a minus 41 for Rasmus Ristolainen on 43 points last year. Somehow he's worse than Adam Larsson. Yeah. You know what? That's statistically speaking worse. To have 43 points and being a minus 41, that's rough. Buffalo, a bad team. Don't get me wrong. Buffalo was a very bad team last year after their big win streak in, what was it, November? They just completely fell apart the Buffalo way. That's the way it seems to go there. But I can sit here and crap on Buffalo. Everybody crap on Edmonton. I understand. The point there. 43 points in 78 games. Guys, that's best on the Oilers in points, if I'm not mistaken, comparing Darnell Nurse's points. Let me just get my number, make sure I'm correct. Yeah, Darnell Nurse had 41 points. So Rasmus Ristolainen, for as bad as he was, would have scored the most points on the Oilers defense last year straight up. The thing is, Rasmus Ristolainen, there's a lot of good to him. There's a lot of bad. I understand that too. But all I'm saying is it's an intriguing factor. He's 6'4", 215, so there's some aspects there where the Oilers might really want to get in on Rasmus Ristolainen, even if it's just preliminary talks, don't get me wrong. But to sit here and say absolutely no straight up, wrong. Starting with Adam Larsson, I know it's sketchy territory. Ideally, if I'm going to sit here and logic with you, mano a mano, and say, okay, what's my ideal package for Rasmus Ristolainen? Well, you look at a guy who I just pulled up in his name, Chris Russell. No, just kidding. I pulled up Darnell Nurse. I can't keep myself straight sometimes, guys. Chris Russell is a right defenseman. So what the heck does that do for Buffalo? You just doom yourself. You get older, you get slower. What the heck's there? No, Chris Russell would be a flip, right? I'm a big fan of, if you're going to make one move, might as well make a second. And this is exactly what I'm trying to pitch here between Buffalo and Edmonton. Is if Edmonton is seriously interested in Rasmus Ristolainen, you take a good prospect in the minors. Cooper Marody, not Tyler Benson, but you understand where I'm going. Someone along that Cooper Marody line. Maybe Kyler Yamamoto's too much, but maybe you throw in a Kyler Yamamoto or a Benson, or right, you part with one of them. And Chris Russell, obviously that's the incentive to take Russell to try and flip him. And if you take a lower tiered prospect, maybe you throw in a pick, right? No Safin and a fourth or a third, somewhere in that neighborhood with Chris Russell for Rasmus Ristolainen. Now this, yes, okay, if you're a Buffalo fan and you've waited 9 minutes to get to what I actually want the Oilers to trade for Rasmus Ristolainen, well, why'd I offer such a low package? Thing is, realistically, you got to remember, flipping Chris Russell, you can still get something. And Buffalo still has to keep in mind of what they're doing in the future, right? Obviously, Nugent Hopkins, if the Oilers trade Nuge, that's just stupid. That's why I won't even go there. So Buffalo, quit your daydreaming. That's just dumb. But Rasmus Ristolainen, you look at the stats. That's why I talked about the stats. Minus 40, whatever. Minus 41. Minus 41 on 43 points. Guys, that's god awful. Gee. That's career worsts for terribleness. But again, the thing is, you know what? Maybe the package isn't the strongest, but there's got to be something out there. And you've got two starting points. You've got Chris Russell, you've got Adam Larsson. Adam Larsson is obviously someone you kind of work with if you're Buffalo. Chris Russell is someone you flip if you're Buffalo. There's a couple of ideals. And I mean, the Oilers could still very easily move someone else in this whole move as well. You look at it, you could move, well, realistically, all our guys are listed as right D except for Oscar Klefbom, so I don't know how accurate good old Cap Friendly's been of lately, but you understand where I'm going, right? You've got Darnell Nurse as a left D as well in there, Brandon Manning, Oscar Klefbom. Well, I'm not trading Darnell Nurse. That's just dumb. You have a guy put up a career best, your most points on the blue line, and he looked like he's going to be a stud for once. Darnell Nurse looked like he needs just that one more season to take that giant step. Don't trade him, especially not for Rasmus Ristolainen, who's pretty much in the same boat. Needs that one step on a good team, on a good year, to get that development finished. He's 24, is Ristolainen. So to sit here and mull it over a million ways to Sunday, I guess to say it best is, I'm kind of I don't know. I'm not one way, I'm not the other. It could be good, it could be bad, and that's essentially what this whole off season for the Oilers will be. Is you can play it out a million ways to Sunday on how a player could do better, a player could do worse, a player could come in, a player could go out, and realistically, the same thing as I said in the earlier video today, you don't know anything until the games start being played. The moves can be made, but guess what? It's just paper. It's just signatures. It's just that as much as it is. And the Blues will forever show that paper fails. Paper doesn't work. Math doesn't always calculate right. That's kind of the deal right there. So with that, I'll turn it over to you guys. Let me know, what are your thoughts on Rasmus Ristolainen maybe ending up in Edmonton? Would you, if you're the Oilers fans, take Ristolainen? Is that something you're interested in? I don't know. Definitely. Take Nuge off the table. That's number one. That's all I'm saying. Other than that, let's hear your proposals. What are you kind of working around if you're the Edmonton Oilers? Guys, I'm Tyson. This is Stolen TV. I am up on out of here.